Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vicente Lockschmidt, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar with Nemanja Sekulic, all about creating stunning artwork with Blender and Photoshop. We're so excited to see the turnout here to welcome you all to today's webinar, and we're really raring to get going. Before we get started, a couple of notes. The first of which being that all of the participants here today, which is all of you, will be receiving a small gift from BenQ. Namely, you'll be receiving a 10% discount code for a limited time, which you can use on our PD series and on our SW series. You're seeing one of the PD monitors right now here on the screen. Now, for those of you who don't know, BenQ is a manufacturer of monitors for designers and for photographers. And these monitors are really built from the ground up to cater to the needs of designers and of photographers, of artists, of content creators, um, really anyone who's looking to work efficiently with colors, with content, with video, with photography, with designs, anything in this space. And we'll even see that there's a very heavy focus as well on those of you who are in the Mac ecosystem. You'll even see here on the links here on the right, we have a page just for you for Mac by BenQ, because this is one of the most common questions that we hear is about Mac compatibility with BenQ monitors, which is of course a very valid question. But the monitors really are catered to all of those needs. Now, for those of you who do work with perhaps Photoshop or with Blender, and you're working with very color intensive projects, one of the most important aspects that you need with your monitors is a monitor that is color accurate. You might have had this experience before where you're working on a project, you're working on design, you're working on a photograph, whatever it may be, whether it be for client or for yourself. And then when you look at the image versus how it's printed out, or when it's on another monitor, when it's another screen, you might notice that the colors are not matching. Perhaps you took a photo of a flower, you then look at the flower on your screen and you notice that the red is not really fitting. Or perhaps the pamphlet or the UX design that you worked on for such a long time, when you send it to the client, suddenly the color isn't looking very correct. With BenQ monitors, we have invested into this idea of AccuColor technology that really guarantees that you have the most color accurate monitor possible when you're working with your work. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to spend hours and hours of your time working on a project and then noticing that the color has been off the entire time. Now, onto Nemanja himself. For those of you who are not aware of his work, who are not aware of his channels, you can also find them here on the sidebar here. And Nemanja has a channel made for YouTube for 3D work, but then he also another channel for more of his Photoshop focus. So we're getting kind of the combination of these two things today. If you're not familiar with his work yet, then you really must. Nemanja is one of the most prolific channels, one of the most prolific voices when it comes to anything regarding Photoshop, regards to anything regarding design and creativity. And I would say that really the only thing that rivals Nemanja's passion for his work, for his design work, for his Photoshop, for his design, is his passion for teaching. Nemanja really is a born teacher. He loves engaging with people. I've seen him not here just in webinars countless times, but also when he's personally and physically in front of someone, really teaching with them, connecting with them. It is something that he really, you can see that he has a fire inside of him, and that's actually exactly what you would always want from an artist and from a teacher. So we're incredibly lucky and very thrilled to have him here with us today. He's also one of our BenQ ambassadors, so we're very lucky and very happy about that. So you're going to see that he's here on screen. Without further ado, I will now be passing on to Nemanja, and we can begin with the webinar.
Thank you, Vicente, so much for this amazing introduction. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this really cool webinar. Today, we will do a lot of fun stuff. Probably a lot of you guys already know me. This is how you got here. And I don't want to tell anything more about myself. Vicente did an amazing job. So yeah, I love to teach and I love to do workshop personal thing. This is much more fun, and it's, for me at least, is better to see people in person, to see their faces and the reactions, etc. Now I'm looking at this tiny hole here, the web camera, but it is how it is. We are now here. Okay, so I want to remind you to vote. There is a poll, ongoing poll right now, at what level of Blender you are. I don't know how many of you voted, but in case you didn't, I will give you 15 seconds just to vote. But this is just for me to see how many people are actually familiar with Blender, because today we will use combination of Blender, which is a 3D software, and I will now share my screen. So just a second here. Okay, give me a second. I will share this, and I assume that you can see my screen because I have no control here, so probably everything is okay. This is a Blender, and we will have a combination of Blender and Photoshop. I want to show you the possibilities of both worlds, 2D and 3D world, because that's really amazing. The only limitation that you can create is basically on your imagination, and in 3D world you can basically rotate and walk through all the axes that are like in a physical world. So we have 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. And I see here that basically a lot of you guys didn't even started with Blender or just started. There are a few percent of you guys who are good at Blender, so okay. And before I start, for you guys who are new to Blender, I created a new channel. It's called 3D Not 2D. You have the links also, and you can check it on YouTube, where I started to teach Blender after the last webinar that we had about Blender. Also, a lot of you guys here and also on my Instagram wanted for me to create a new channel, so I did, and I already have really nice amount of videos there. It's meant for beginners, so go there and support me there if you want and learn some new things completely for free. And now there is one question that a lot of you guys probably ask yourself if you are in an art world, but anywhere is the same. AI is everywhere, and now that you can go to Midjourney or recently Photoshop, I also did a video on that. Photoshop released the generative fill. It's a new AI tool where you can practically with press of a button create amazing things. Similar like Midjourney. If you are not familiar with Midjourney, again, that's AI tool where you just type a prompt, whatever you want, whatever is on the top of your mind, and the artificial intelligence will bring it up to you. So why would I now spend hours and months and years to learn new things and to push myself to be even better and better now that I can just go and type prompt and that's it, I have it? Well, first of all, I would never stop creating manually, to say, not with AI, because when you type something to AI and get an image, it's same like you guys ask me as a designer to make you a certain design, photo manipulation or whatever kind of design. So let's go with the photo manipulation. And you give me your explanation. I want to have maybe a kid walking through the forest, reading a book, and from book there is like a virtual screen or cloud that represents the story of the book. Just things that came up in my mind right now. So I put all my knowledge, all my skills, and I create that, and I give it to you. So here it is, your prompt. And then you take that prompt and you say to the world, hi guys, hey guys, I created this. See, it's beautiful. This is me. I created this. I created. Well, no, you didn't create it. I created. So it's the same with AI. People type a prompt. You only explain to artificial intelligence, to machine there. You're explaining machine what you want to achieve, and machine make it for you. You take it and you say, hey, I made it. No, you didn't make it. You just ask somebody else to make it. And this is why AI is not, you're not an artist if you're using AI like that. It's okay to use AI as a helper, as inspiration, as some tools. Today, in basically a lot of sphere of our life, a lot of parts of every industry, we have a lot of AIs, also Photoshop, Magic Wand, quick selection tool. Everything of these things are AI, so that's not a problem. If you're making a table, if you're a carpenter or whatever, you're making a table or sofa or whatever, the better drill or other tools you're using, you will do the job faster. But without your skills and knowledge how to use it, still, that's something that that's why you want to learn Blender. Okay, now with this short introduction, don't be discouraged about losing artists, losing jobs, etc. It's not like that. People are overcomplicated with that. It will be something, but we will see. Just don't think like that. Think positive. And if you like to create, continue creating, because me, at least, when I create something, some artwork, for example, today we will do this. You already know, but let me show. So when I create this, I'm so thrilled about the final result and the process of creation and the trials and errors, experimenting, how it would be, etc. So the satisfaction after I finish the artwork cannot even cannot approach even nearby to the prompt that I put to Midjourney and just get something. Yeah, I admire how artificial intelligence, where we came up with the artificial intelligence. It's crazy. I don't know, but still, it's not my work. It's somebody else's work. So okay, now that we're done with that, let me show you how to create this really cool artwork that you just saw using Photoshop and Blender. So Blender, just a short introduction for you guys who are new here, is a 3D software. I already said you can you can move through all the axes, X, Y, and Z, up and down. And this is the default scene in Blender, and we have this default cube here, and we can move it and rotate it and do whatever we want. And I have a full Blender beginner tutorial. Actually, it's a free course made out of 10 episodes, so everything is explained. Go to my channel there if you want to learn, and it's really fun and simple and easy. And we have a light, one light as default, and one camera, and this is the default thing. So basically, whenever I want to create something, I either have it in my mind like a full final result imagined, or I like to draw on a paper like I did for the recent tutorial. So let's see what I'm showing you. This for the recent 3D tutorial, I made this trash can robot. So I like to draw it and then to make something by my sketch. It doesn't matter how you want. Just the idea is to have in mind what you want to create. So here we will create this. Give me a second to pull it up. Wait. Okay, this sci-fi window, basically, with the astronaut, female astronaut, and we will put the environment there. So really simple and easy, but really fun process. Okay, it goes like this. We are here in Blender, and we have this default cube, and I don't want to use it. I will delete it because I want to start with something that is more round, like a window. And I will go with Shift A. And also, before we start, let's see if I have it here. Screencast keys. And let's see, just a moment. That's okay, but I forgot how to activate it. Give me a second. Not here, not here. Should go with just this, but I forgot how to get these screencast keys, but doesn't matter. I wanted to show what I'm clicking with the mouse, but I don't know why it's not working like that, just by default. Maybe if I go to another version of Blender, maybe it will be. Let's go here. Maybe I have here another version of these that I'm using for tutorials. Just a second. Let's see. Yeah, this is working. I don't know why that version is not working. Okay, so I will go and just quickly save this to my Blender and to projects and workshop and like that. And let me close the previous version of window. Okay, and here we have it again. Perfect. Here you can see what I'm clicking with my keyboards and mouse. Right, I will delete the cube and I will start with Shift A and add a cylinder, because cylinder is more like that round type of window that we want to create. Blender is amazing for real life size. So if you want to create a window that is 2 meters wide, then make it here 2 meters. So here, if you press N, you will get the side panel. And let's go to the item, and you can see this is 2 meter by 2 meter by 2 meters. So basically this is it. And I want to leave it like 2 meters, maybe a little bit bigger, but I want to press R to rotate it, X on the X-axis, or maybe Y on the Y-axis, and 90 degrees, something like that. Perfect. And maybe I want to make it a little bit bigger, maybe 2.5 meters, something like that. Yeah, around 2.5 meters. And I want to scale it to be like more, how to say, more not so long, so shorter. That's what I want to say. Okay, so S for scale and X to scale it on X-axis. And this is really cool. This is our window, maybe a little bit wider, maybe like this. Perfect. And now I will go to the edit mode. So we have in Blender, we have these faces, these polygons. We have the edges, these things right here. These are the edges, and we have the vertices. So these points right there. And with all of these, we can differently manipulate the objects. So by moving the vertices, see, we can have something like that. Or by moving the edges, we can have a different result, maybe select few edges and then just move it and have different results. And basically, this is really fun because by moving small parts of objects, you can transform it to look differently. And also we have two other tools that I will show now that are mostly used, but also the faces. If you move the face, you will get the same result. Maybe you can make some kind of a gear, or I don't know, whatever you want with this. Okay, so I will go to this face edit view and select this face and this face, front and back face, and use the inset tool. Press I to inset it, and we are insetting this face a little bit in. Also, there are all those tools right here, but I like to use keyboard shortcuts because this is something that you want to do in all softwares, because you will work much faster than just, okay, I want bevel, I want, okay, don't do that, learn keyboard shortcuts. Okay, now I want to extrude this. So I'll press E to extrude it, and it goes like this. So it's not good. So I need to press Alt and E and extrude it along normals. Normals are basically normals, like normal 90 degree, something that is 90 degree on the face. So this face has a normal that goes like this face here like that, this one like that, and so on and so forth. So I want to extrude along normals. So see, like that. And I will go a little bit in. And so how to see how much I went in? I don't want the front and back side to touch each other. Well, I will see through. I will press Alt and Z and see like an X-ray. Perfect. And then I can go even more with S, scale it on X-axis like that. Then I want to go again, I to inset, and Alt E, and I'll extrude along faces a little bit here. And another I to inset and go back here. And I want now to make a hole through this. So I will go with right click or W and go here, bridge faces. And this is it. See, this is our window. Really simple and easy. This, you can make this in a few seconds. Now I'm doing this slowly because I want to show you how it's done. But this is really, really simple and easy. So basically, it looks like too jagged. So we have all these faces around. So we need to make it smoother. Blender has something that is called shade smooth or auto shade smooth. When you press it, it will just shade smooth. It will fake the shading. But if you see the front view, for example, the side view, you can see still it's those jagged edges because it's a limited amount of polygons. So basically, what we need to do is to add even more polygons, to add subdivisions, more polygons, subdivided. So there is modifier, this wrench key here, the wrench icon is modifier. So we will add subdivision surface modifier. And now it's much better. It's really smooth. And I like it, but not too much because I don't want to look like that. But still, if we increase the levels of subdivision, it will be even smoother. But don't overdo it because you don't want, the more polygons you have in the scene, your computer will be more, it will work slower and render time will be slower, and so on and so forth. So you want to optimize the scene to have the least amount of polygons that are good enough for what you want to see. So if for example, this model is somewhere far away there, well, like this in the scene, maybe this is too much, like this in the scene, maybe you don't need even this, maybe just one level of subdivision and it will be okay. But actually you wouldn't need at all, because we want to see something like that. Okay, so let's bring it back. And now in order to make this looks like this, but subdivided, we need to add edge loops. I explained in the Blender beginner tutorials of that course that I have there, how and why we are adding these edge loops and how this functioning, how the subdivision functioning. So you should watch it there, but I will quickly go through this. If you go to edit mode, basically in order to have this smooth arc here, not like face, in order to have it smooth, you're adding a subdivision surface, and subdivision modifier is making the average of these two faces and adding more faces in between, and then it's making like not jagged but a little bit more curved, and more subdivision you have, it will be more smooth. So this is how it works. And in order to have, for example, this front part more how to say, more flat, we need to add Control R and add an edge loop. So we are adding an edge loop, and we are making it flat because of the calculation. The less space you have between two edges, then you are able to create tinier curvature, so it almost looks flat. And hope that makes sense. And here I will add another edge loop, and see between these two edge loops there is a really tiny curvature here, and it almost looks flat. It doesn't look like 100% flat, and it shouldn't be, but this looks cool. Okay, so this is one way how we can do that. Another way, if I undo that, another way is to add another modifier, and that's a bevel modifier that will add all of these, but everywhere. We need to add it about the subdivision. This works like the layers in Photoshop. So in that case, that the first modifier is applied first, but then second and it's stacking like that. So first we want to add a bevel to basically cut those spaces between edges, and let's make it smaller, maybe like that. And see, this is cool. We don't need to go and add edge loops everywhere manually. Sometimes you need to add manually, sometimes this doesn't work good at all. So there is another trick here to use the cavities. Now we just better see our edges here, and that's it. Okay, the window looks really decent. And now what I like to do here is maybe to modify it a little bit. Go to the faces and select all these faces here. Let me show you. If I hide this and hide this, we are back to the starting position. This is non-destructive way of working. So I want to select all these faces and press S and just scale it to have this part thinner. And also I can do for all this and this. I'm holding Shift and Alt and selecting, selecting this and this. Perfect. And if I now press S, I can make it, see, like I can do whatever I want here. So maybe like that, much better. And also just for fun, I can go to the edges, select this edge by holding Alt or Option on a Mac, and it will select the whole edge loop. And I will press Control B. And in that way, I can, wait, there is something that is called, that is called scaling. So scaling, it should always be 1, 1, 1, 1. Everything should be once. Now it's not. And now if I add a bevel here, and it's behaving strange. See, it's not like, not distributing evenly on this side and this side. It should go 45 degrees on both sides, but it's not, because the scaling of our object is not 1, 1, 1, but is off. So in order to fix it, we need to press Control A and apply scale. Perfect. So you can see everything is 1, 1, 1. And now if we go to edges and Control B, try to bevel this, it will be equal, and this is what we want. This is exactly what we want, so I will leave it like that. Perfect, go back to object, and now if we go to the bevel and to the subdivision surface modifier, this looks really nice and smooth, and I'm happy with the result. Okay, another thing that I want to add here, this is okay for the window, for the sci-fi window, but let me show our original image here again. Okay, I want to have just simple details like this, just to add more interest to the photo, because otherwise it would be just like this. This is okay too, but you know, I want to have it a little bit more. So in order to do that, really simple and easy in 3D world, but also in Photoshop and everywhere, you should be creative and think, learn to think. This is something that you're learning while modeling. Learn to think, to use Blender or any other software, any other tool smart. Don't do too much. Try to use shortcuts to create something. So basically here, in order to create these details on the window, I will go to edit mode here, and I can see that I will just hide this for a moment, just maybe for you to see it better. I can see that basically what I have here is that I can select this and select this, you know, this. Okay, I will use it. So for example, select this and I don't know, this and this and this, and then just extrude it and add volume, and this is it. This is how you should do it. Don't make something from scratch because there is no sense. So in order to do that, let's see how we will do it. First of all, I will go here and I will go to the wireframe view and I will press R to rotate it. And basically the idea is to rotate it just a little bit like that. So to have this one and this one parallel, like 3 and 9 hours, and we don't care about these two because I will not select it. So let's go back to the, come on, here, and go back to the faces. And now I will select this face here. And if I select it like that, maybe you think everything is selected, but it's not. If we rotate it, only a portion is selected from our view, because this is the orthographic view, basically view without depth, and whatever we are seeing, it's only selected. So in order to select everything, you need to see through. So Alt Z, the shortcut. And now if we select everything, wait a second. Okay, now if we select everything here and rotate, everything is selected. Perfect. So I want this, press and hold Shift, want this. And now let's think about how we want to rearrange other things. This is the center, maybe 1, 2, third, maybe third one. And also 1, 2, this one, and 1, 2, 3, and also 1, 2, 3. Looks decent. For me, this is pretty nice. It has symmetry and works really cool. Okay, so in order to continue, I can press Alt Z again just to exit this, and I can press Shift D to duplicate this. So see, this is a copy, like in Photoshop, Control J or Command J. I will press Escape, and now press P to separate this selection. So separate, selection, and now we have a new object here. I just need to go to object mode and select that object, and this is it. We have a new object. Perfect. But this object, if I press /, you can see there is no depth here. So we want to add depth. So how to add depth? Well, there is an amazing modifier for that, and it's really simple and easy to do it. Just go here and add a solidify modifier and just add a little depth. See, we can add as much depth as you want. Also, see, let me just isolate it. See these edges here? Well, just check this even thickness and it will be as it should. Now it's a little bit strange, but you want even thickness, and then you want something like that. The beauty of editing like this is that it's non-destructive modeling, because you have all these settings here available for changing whatever you want to change. So anytime you want to come back, you can come back and change things. So for example, this is too thick. I want it thinner, so maybe like that. Perfect. And I have a really cool window right now. Okay, so you can apply this and then it's destructive. And sometimes you want to apply these things. So let's go here, and go here. And see, this looks really beautiful. And I will leave it like that. Maybe I can go to these ones and see just for fun the bevel here. I can manually type maybe another 0 here. Yeah, now it's much sharper. And if I go just with 1 level, maybe, but 2 is okay. 3 is too much. This is crazy. I don't want so many segments here. And also subdivision surface here. Maybe I want 1 subdivision for this. And this looks perfect also for the render. There is no need for anything else. So this is how it looks. And we are done with the window. This is completely done. Now what we need to do, what we need to create here is, let me show really quickly. We need to create the wall and to make hole through the wall and to have it like really cool window. So this is even easier than you think for this example, but sometimes this can be tricky. So before I continue with that, what I like to do is to ask you another poll here. I want to ask you a poll that is, with what do you edit your images? So Vicente will pull up the poll here and I will give you a few moments to answer this poll. I'm really curious. Is that a laptop or regular monitor or professional monitor, or I don't know, there is no other options, but or something else? You're working on iPad, but no, don't answer that because there is no answer for that. Okay, I will give you a few more moments to see the results. And almost done. Okay, I think it's okay. So basically the results are that majority of you guys are working on laptop and rest of you guys are working on a regular monitor, really. 20% of you guys are working on professional monitors. So I'm really curious about these things, especially as an ambassador for BenQ, because monitor for me is one of the most important tools in workflow, in my design process. Because if you have bad monitor, bad screens, there are several things that I want to address because I used to work on bad screens at the beginning. And I remember that, pardon me, I remember that so many times I have first eye fatigue and my eyes were like I was crying and maybe headache if I work too many hours in the front of the screen. Without over, how to say that in English, without, doesn't matter, I will say in a different way. I'm working every single day more than 10 hours in the front of monitors. So that's it. Sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours, but 10 hours is something that is minimum for me. And if I work for 10 hours in bad monitor, I for sure, I remember my head will be exploding. It will be some crazy feeling. My eyes would not be good, etc. I need to put some fake tears in the eyes, etc. So that's one way, the health way. If you have a good monitor like I'm using now, the BenQ professional monitor series, and there is really great engineering behind that. First of all, they're caring about your eyes. Let me show quickly here. Okay, they have some technology for where it is. Oh, this is my monitor, but see, eye care brings you a view comfort never experienced before. But that's actually true. When I was started to use BenQ monitors before I became ambassador, I was like a skeptic, like, oh, it's a screen. How can be even less stressful to my eyes? It's screen, but it's a magic behind that, and it's really I can work hours and hours without any issues at all. But another really important thing is that colors. Colors are the most important thing when I'm working for clients, for any project, I want to have same colors when I print my images, when I send my image to a client, when I send my image to my phone or whatever. I want to have consistent image color quality. And I know that a lot of my friends, a lot of my colleagues are always asking me, well, I have different colors on my laptop, I have different colors on my phone, I have different colors on my monitor, and that's what you want to avoid. To have a good monitor is really important, especially if you're working on a professional level. You don't want to mess with these things. BenQ monitors are coming factory calibrated, so out of the box you're safe to use those colors. They're 100% good calibrated, but I always advise from time to time to recalibrate your monitor with some external calibrator, but colors are really, really important. And also the sharpness, the detail quality, how you see the text, how you see the image, etc., is amazing. It's totally different feeling, especially when you come from a laptop or bed monitor to a BenQ PD or SW series monitor. This is amazing. Also, the M-Book mode, I'm currently working on my MacBook laptop. That's perfect, but I have a huge screen here. So BenQ PD 3200U monitor. It's 32-inch monitor, and I use laptop for notes or for second screen. But what is important here and what is amazing that BenQ came up with one cable solution. So if you're using MacBooks, you have just one cable, plug it in MacBook, and you're also powering the monitor, the laptop. You don't need to worry about any other power supply cables. You're also transferring the image to the monitor, and also there is an M-Book mode. So you're just with the press of a button on hotkey pack, you can just switch to that mode on monitor, so you can match the colors from your laptop to your monitor, and you have exactly the same tones there, and that's amazing. Also, the coverage of color spaces is amazing. Delta E, if you know what is it, this is less of a tree. It's also really, 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 really good, etc. And with this opportunity, you can grab this opportunity from this webinar and go to BenQ EU shops. This is just valid for BenQ EU shops, unfortunately just for EU, but you can do that and get 10% off the price and get your professional monitor maybe for the first time ever. Highly recommend it. Without any overreacting, really, you will see the difference and definitely you will enjoy it. So you can see the code, 10% discount code. You can see down there at the bottom of your screens, probably like I'm seeing right now. And also you'll get 1 year completely free Pantone Connect. So you can get Pantone colors and things around that. So that's amazing opportunity. Okay, thank you for answering this poll. And let's go back to the project. Right. So let's create a wall. Really simple and easy. Wall is just Shift A cube. And yeah, this is like some strange suitcase or whatever. This can be interesting design. So I will use this and scale it, but on x-axis, S and X, to scale it like this probably. And also, yeah, like that. And also scale it completely. So S, and if I scale like that, I will scale on all axes, but I want to Shift X to eliminate the X axis, like that. The height of the wall, it doesn't matter because this will not be visible. And this is it. This is really cool. Now we need to make a hole through the wall. So let's give me a huge hammer and let's punch it. So how to do that? Well, really simple. There is something that is called a bool tool. So we can use cylinder. Let me show you really quickly, and rotate it on y-axis. And now if we select that cylinder and select the wall and press Control minus, but before that you need to go to Edit, Preferences, and here in the add-ons, there is add-on that is default coming with the Blender. You need just to enable it. Bool tool, just enable it. Is disabled by default. I don't know why, but need to enable it. And here is it. We have the hole. So you can make this cylinder. Come on, the cylinder. Oh, Okay, you can make this bigger, and this is how you're making the hole on the wall. So this is perfectly okay, and we can say, all right, I will stop here. Let's just make it smaller, but maybe, yeah, this is perfectly okay for this example. And this is one approach to this, but I want to show a smarter way. It's exactly the same, but with the difference that if you need to have a precise hole, for example, precise, it's not for this example, but maybe something else. I will undo it a few times and let me show that trick. Why not? Let's learn something new. So select your model, go to Edge Edit View, press tab, and yeah, guys, I didn't explain you. When you press tab, you're automatically by default in Blender, you're going to edit view. So edit like that. When you press tab, you're basically doing this, edit, like that. Go to the object, go to the edit. But this pie menu that you're seeing here is part of Machine Tool that is completely free, and you can get it. Just type Machine Tool for Blender and go to Gumroad and just download this, because it's much easier to go between edges, vertices, and faces. Otherwise, you'll press a tab, go like to edit, and then here you have vertices, edges, and faces, or press 1, 2, or 3 on a keyboard and do these things. Okay, so now that we covered that, let's go to edges, and I want to select this outer edge here. So this, Alt and select, and I have this edge, and I want to make a copy of it. So Shift D, duplicate it, and remember P to separate. Go back to the object and select this edge. Now I want to go to the face edit, to the edge, press A to select all, and press F to fill that. Perfect. And now I want to press E to extrude it, and this is it. I extruded maybe too much, it doesn't matter, and go back to the object. So this is how it looks. And now we need to select, this is already selected, press Shift and select the cube, Control minus, and this is a bad thing. Why is a bad thing? Yeah, wait. This, Control minus, and it's not got. Oh yeah, Bool tool. Come on, we need a difference, but why? This is something that is happening here, but let's figure it why. So we have this. Come on. Yeah, this is cool. Okay, let's move it. Yeah, maybe I know why. Maybe know why. Let's see. Let's move it here like that. So what to do? Help, guys, help. What to do? Okay, so I don't know why is this happening. This is for me first time ever happening, but one more time. If not, this should be like a regular thing. Okay, let's apply bevel. Let's apply subdivision. And now let's go Control minus, and still nothing. I totally have no clue why this happened. There are no, basically this is how it should be, and this is how I used to use it all the time. From time to time, you can basically get some how to say, some things like that, some problems, some trouble that you need to solve. And one more time, yeah, it won't work. I don't know why, but it's a cylinder. Basically, this is the cylinder like we did here. Let's go back to our regular view. So cylinder like that, and now it should working. I have no idea why this other thing is not working. Basically, the idea is to create exact size of the cylinder. I will figure it out later, but I don't want to waste your time right now to make this possible. So by expanding the cylinder, you're expanding the whole of the window. So let's stop here and let's say that this is okay, SX, and I just want to make this smaller. So this is it. We have a window, and because I don't want to see this wireframe here, I just will hide it right here. So, or press H on the keyboard to hide it. So like that. What is going on? Wait, I select this, press H. Yeah, it will hide it. Perfect. Okay, so we have a window, we have a wall, and now we need to create floor. So Shift A, and I want to create a plane, S to make it bigger, and go to the side view, G, Z, and move it down on Z axis, and I will put it somewhere like this. I want the floor window to be almost down there to the floor, something like that. And that's perfect. Now let's go to that part where we will introduce the camera. So if I press 0 on a keyboard, I will go to the camera view. And here in the view tab, here on this menu, when you press N, you're bringing it back, you have something that is called camera to view, this thing right there. And when you turn that on, you can move the camera through the scene. So let me show really quickly. If we separate this and go to, not to camera view, but to regular view here, this is our camera. And now in this view, if we are going through the scene, you can see how camera is moving. If this is not selected, then you're going back to perspective, user perspective. And if you go with the 0 on the numpad, you're looking through the camera, but whenever you move it, you're going back to perspective. So you want to check this and set your camera however you want, and then uncheck it. You don't want suddenly to move your frame. Okay, but before we do that, I want to go here to this printer icon and set my artboard, the output of our file, because this will be like for Instagram. I want a simple resolution here, so 1080 by 1350. This is the max Instagram file size, and for example, I want this to put on Instagram, and this is okay. I don't want to. I usually go with 4000 by 5000, bigger resolution, because I want to have it as a final image much bigger and ready for printing or whatever. But for the time of this tutorial and rendering process, this is more than enough. Okay, so let's go back camera to view. And also one more thing, we have the camera right here. I want to go with 35mm lens, and it's a little bit wider lens, and I want to come somewhere here, and I want my frame to be like that. Okay, for now it's okay. I will uncheck this, and let me show you one thing. So what we need here is, let's bring this up. We need the astronaut. And the beauty of 3D world is that, yeah, we should now model the astronaut. That will take a while, and this will take a few hours at least. So the beauty is that you can go, let me just show you here. CG Trader, let's go back here. Probably you're seeing it now. So CG Trader, and you can type astronaut, and there are a lot of models of astronauts. See the price now, there is currently a discount. So sales end in 1 hour. Okay. You can see the fully astronauts, some of them are rigged completely. That means that you can move the arms, head, legs, so you can pose to any pose you want. And there is a filter here. So for example, you want only Blender files for easy of use. You can use other formats in Blender too, but in case you don't know how, select Blender files, and maybe you want this one. It's interesting for your project, and this is how it looks. You can check it out here to see if it's rigged. So yeah, it's rigged. So that means that you can pose it to any pose that you want, and also make sure to check the license. It's royalty free. That's so you're ready to go. And this is how it looks, and it can be really, really, really fun model for a lot of projects, for a lot of sci-fi projects. And if you want to buy it, just buy it, and that's it. So the point is that you have a lot of models on CG Trader, and this is not commercial for them, but I like to use them. I have no other connection with them, just buying models there. And you can just buy a model and do this. Let me show you. When you purchase a model, select the Blender file, for example. This is the original name of the file, and say append. And I want to go to the object, because we are appending objects, and I want to say A for all, and just append it. Perfect. And one thing is that it's putting the model where I will undo it, where our 3D cursor is. And our 3D cursor is, I just moved it. So our 3D cursor was here, this thing, but I want to put 3D cursor on the plane right there. So it will put the model here. And again, I will just move it like that, append, object, A to select all, and come on, it doesn't matter. I know why is this happening, but it doesn't matter. So what I like to do now is press M and add a collection, move to collection. So new collection, I will name it Astronaut. Okay. Because it will put the astronaut in the world origin. Basically, this is why, but we need to move everything, this, and camera and everything. We basically need to move up. So G, Z, and move it like that. So that's one way how we can fix it. But then we need to move the window and that part that we didn't select it because it's hidden. So this part also, and now G, Z, and this window. So make sure to select everything. Let's see, almost everything. This, and now GZ, and go to the side view to see what we are doing. So yeah, this works perfect. Okay, so now that we have an astronaut and have it in a separate collection, I want to remove the astronaut camera. I don't need it, so delete, an astronaut light, delete. I just want to have astronaut itself. And the beauty of having it in separate select collection is to right click and select objects for that collection, and it will select everything here. So I can rotate it on Z axis 90 degrees, but actually RZ minus 90 degrees to have it like here, and G and X and move it somewhere here. So let's see, for example, here. And again, I want to select this and hide it. And our astronaut will be here. I press 0, go to the camera. This is it. We have beautiful astronaut here. And this is how it looks for now. If we go to a render view, this is not a render view, this is material preview. So this is how our astronaut looks. Nice. And I can go here to the render view, and this is how it would look with current lights in the scene, but we don't want that kind of lighting. Now we will change the lighting and add materials to the scene. But I will also add a few more elements here really quickly. But before that, I want to show you something. So basically, looks good. Basically, if I go here to this camera, this is now a little bit wider theme. It's covered completely in my course on YouTube, so check it out. We have two render engines. It's Eevee and Cycles. I will just run through it. Eevee is a real-time render engine, so you're seeing my MacBook, a laptop, handling this in real time. No issues at all. This is how Astronaut looks, and beautiful, really fast, really nice, really nice, really fast. Okay, and if we go to Cycles, Cycles is more photorealistic render engine, ray trace based. It's a little bit wider story, but if you want to have photorealistic result, like a real life result, how the rays of light are bouncing and reflecting and refracting of the objects through the object, etc., you want to use Cycles. Most of the time I'm using Cycles. I'm using Eevee only if it's good enough, close enough to what I get in the Cycles and for the style I'm rendering out, and it's much faster, obviously, it's real time. But this, see, it took a while to render. Also, I want to go from CPU to GPU compute and use my graphic card to render. So see, it takes a while, but it will have a different render result. You will see in a moment. Okay, so this is how it looks. I will, for a moment, go to Eevee and add few lights. First of all, we have one light here, and this is this one default light that I will delete, and we will be almost in dark. There is one really cool setting here, and this is world properties. And currently we have a gray tone. So this is the gray tone here. It's set to 1, strength is set to 1. If we set any other tone, we'll change the color of like ambient light. Let's think about that like ambient light. And you can set anything here. Basically, if you set this to 0, you will be in a complete dark, and you can build your light from scratch. So that's one way. Another way, how I like to do, is to go to, let me show you here, wrong window, let me show you here, polyhaven.com, and it's free resources of HDRI's lights. Basically, these are spherical type of lights. that represents the real life lights, like environment lights, wherever you are. Like if I'm in a room, for example, this attic, pine attic, I will have 360 degrees lights of that space, if you got what I want to say. So this is amazing, and I can download any of these. There are 649 different lights. They're completely free, so you can get it and use it and no problem at all. And I will use one of these lights here. So let's go back to Blender, and I will go, instead of color here, instead of this crazy color, I want to choose environment texture. And now everything changes. This is beautiful. This is what we want, like in a dream. But I want to open a file. Open, I will go to my Blender HDRI maps. And for this, I will go with Sky is on Fire. Sky is on fire. Okay, this is how it looks. Why is it on fire? Well, because this. So this is it. Like we have a model somewhere outside, lit like it's there in that space. This is cool. But one thing that I want to do here is, let's go press 0 to go to the camera view. I want to rotate the environment, the sphere that is lighting our object. So I will go here from object mode, from this part, from 3D viewport to shader editor. And here we will build the materials, but wait a moment. I will go from, let me show you here. We should have some material. Okay, come on, it's right there. We can go from object. So these are materials that are related to the object here. We can go from object to the world. And this is it. You can see we have Sky is on Fire connected to the color here, and the color is set background to the surface, and this is it. So in order to use Blender more easily, you want to go to Edit, Preferences, and enable Node Wrangler add-ons. So just type Node, and you had Node Wrangler, just enable it, and that's it. This is what you need to do, and also like to save preferences here. And now instead of adding manually nodes with Shift A and find nodes, you can just click on the image here and press Ctrl T. Voila, this is it. It adds these two nodes automatically, and now you can go to rotation, Z-axis, and you can rotate this. Sky is on fire. And I want this to be somewhere here, for example, but we have an issue. If this is a room, like we want to have it here. See, if this is a room, we want to have dark inside and only the lightness coming from outside parts. So in order to do that, think like it's a real life. So in order to do that, we need to make actually a room here. So I will make a copy of this wall here. Let's go back to that wall, go to press 7, go to top view, press Shift D to make a copy of the wall. And yeah, Shift D, come on. This Blender is behaving strange. Yeah, Shift D, perfect, now it's okay. Yeah, now it's okay. And I want to move it, I don't know, somewhere here, maybe Shift Z to see what I'm actually doing. And this is also much better. R, Z, 90 degrees. I want to rotate it by 90 degrees and set it here like one part of the wall. Shift D, move it here, another part of the wall. And it's already better. We have a room. So now if you go here, you will see it's already different. A little bit darker, but still we have the light from the top, from the back. Crazy. So we don't want that. Go back here and add a ceiling. So I will use this one and Shift D, rotate it on X by 90 degrees, go to the front. Actually, this is a side view, but it doesn't matter. Make this bigger. And yeah, this is our ceiling here. Let's see. I don't want to have this part here because if the light is hitting that, there will be a shadow. Maybe it will affect things. So I will just GX and move it. I like to move it here. Okay, now let's go to the camera, and now it's better. But now we are in Eevee, and if you go to cycles, this will be more realistic. Wow, this is cool. What's happening with this wall? Can somebody say to me? Let's see the face orientation. Everything is cool. The wall here is object. Come on, there is nothing here. Let's add a material. What's happening to the wall? Maybe there is 2 walls here. Maybe there are a few walls here. Let's see. Cube. What is cube 1? Ah, we have 2 walls. I made a copy. Who knows how many times? One more time. Okay. And this should be now. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I made so many copies. All right, that's cool. And now we have this. Perfect. Now I want to add color to the material. So I'm selecting the wall here. I have here materials, go to the object, and I want to set the base color to something darker. Maybe like dark gray, something like that. And now I want to set everywhere this color. So this, and this wall. And at the end, I want to select this wall, press Control L to link materials. Perfect, that's great. Now the floor, I want a different material to the floor. So I will go here and set new. And I can name this floor. And I can go to this. Yeah, this is a wall. I want to name it. Also, guys, I don't remember if I said at the beginning, but if you stick with me till the end, you can get this Blender file. Of course, without the girl, you need to download it, buy it for yourself. I don't have permission to give it that, but the room with the window and that, you can get it for free, but you need to stay till the end of the webinar. So I finished that and upload it, so you can download it here from this platform. So stay here and you'll be able to get this and have fun using this for whatever projects you want. Okay, so this is it. And for the floor, I want to be more reflective. So I want to lower the roughness. See, it's more reflective. And if we want to, we can have metallic floor, but I don't want metallic floor, just a little bit more reflective. So maybe 0.3 something seems nice. And also that will work perfectly, but see the background there. I don't want to see that HDRI image. For now, I will leave it like that, but I will show you later. I don't want to see it. And I also want this window to have a different material, so I will name it window. And for that, you can do whatever you want. Play with it. You can set any color, whatever, but I don't want that. I want to make it maybe like that, and maybe metallic, a little bit metallic. Roughness can stay 0.5. We will see. We can always change this, so maybe a little bit darker like that. And also these parts, this is like, I don't know what to say, window parts. And I want this to be like orange tone. I like to be orange, like that color, and also a little bit metallic and less roughness. Okay, this is it. And now what I like to do is to go to the camera to view and just reshape this for now. So probably something like that. The beauty of this is that you can rotate this and do whatever you want, however you want. It's totally up to you. But for me, I think this looks nice. Like that. For now, I will leave it like that. I will show another cool trick. But for now, this is it. Also, see, you can rotate it and say, all right, I want to have this perspective and want to create something else here. So we are looking at the model. We need to pose the model, so that will be fun. And yeah, so this is basically the basic idea of that. So what I also want to do is to match the suit color of the model to the window. Why not? So let's select the model. And we have a lot of nodes here. So yeah, we will do that. There are a few ways how we can do it. Maybe it's easier to do it in Photoshop because we need to go here to the body and to open this image in the Photoshop and then change the color and bring it back. Maybe it's too complicated for this webinar, so I will skip it for now. I will do it later in Photoshop. I will just add a few lights here and pose the model. So first, let's pose the model. In order to pose the model, you need to select the skeleton, the English word. You need to select this thing, the armature, that I want to say, the armature of the model. If you don't see it, you can always press Alt Z or actually Shift Z to see through the model and then select the armature of the, come on, or just go here and find armature. But this is it. And now that we have this selected, now if you press tab, I have this pose option. So I will go there and this is how it looks. I will just go with this easy. I will not too much of posing because I don't want to waste too much time, but basically I will select the bone and with R, I can rotate it, with G, I can move it, etc. So I will go like this, R, move it down, go to the side view, move it up. Hey, and this is woman. Hey, come on, wait for me. It's fun to pose the model. Okay, like that, maybe this arm and move it here. So just, or I don't know, move it with here. Like that. Let's see from the camera view. No problem, we can do like that and like that, whatever you want, however you want. So just R and move it down. And this looks pretty decent. I can move it a little bit further like that, and maybe like that, and maybe this arm here, this bone, come on, R, like that. And let's see, not bad. Also the neck bone here, this one. Okay, let's see here. Let's see with this bone here. Maybe it's better. Yeah, it's better. Let me show you. Let's go here. I need to stretch my head. All right. Okay, let's ready for the battle. This is crazy. Never do that to your model. It will break her neck. Okay, so maybe to look somewhere, maybe straightforward, maybe somewhere up here, maybe somewhere there, maybe somewhere there. Why not? Like this, like she's looking right there up. Not bad. So let's go back here to the render view. I like it. Why not? It's a little bit different than on our example here. Let me show you. She's looking straightforward, but let's look up at this, maybe this spaceship. Let's create it a little bit differently. Why not? Okay, so that's cool. Now that we have that, let's add a few more lights, 2 more lights, and we are done. So I will go right here, and first of all, I want to hide this HDRI map. And in order to do that, I will go here to the render and go here to the film and just go to the transparent. And this is it. Now it's transparent. Perfect. We want that. That's one thing. Another thing is, let's go press 7, go to the top view, press Shift A. Come on, Shift. What's going on here? Something going on. Blender is going crazy now. Okay, that's normal here. Okay, now it's working. Shift. Now it's not working. Shift A, come on. I don't know. Oh yeah, I know. I'm in a pose mode. I need to go to the object. Perfect. I'm going crazy, not Blender. Okay, go to the light, go to the area light, and I want to G and move it here. Make it, I don't know, GZ, move it up. GZ somewhere here, and I will make it this angle, rotate it, maybe as to scale it more. I will show you about the size of the light that affect a lot. Like in real life, the bigger light source you have compared to the model, you will have softer shadows, or the opposite. The smaller light source will have harsher shadows. So different light source, different settings, everything will be different. Okay, I will go with RZ, rotate here and go and move this light, actually rotate here and move this light here like that. Let's see if I go to the render view. Let's see how the light will affect. Like nothing. Why? Well, because if you go here to the light properties, make sure to select the light properties. It's only 10 watts. 10 watts is like one light bulb is like, I don't know, normally 60 watts, 75 watts. If not LED, it's different calculation, but this is nothing. So let's go with, I don't know, 3000. Okay, this is much better. So see, we have shadows here. If I go RZ and rotate this like that, if I make the light bigger, see what happens to the shadows. They're getting softer. Don't let's go here to reflection. I don't want you to be fooled by reflection. So the shadows are getting softer. If I go and make light smaller, see how harsh shadows are. This is just shadows. So basically, this is what we are doing with bigger and smaller light source. So depend what you want to achieve. I want a little bit harsher light like that, and maybe I want this light. Let's bring back the reflection here. So roughness around that. So basically, I want this light to have different color, maybe a little bit like warmer color. You can also set a color temperature instead, but let's set the color like that. And let's see, 3000, maybe 5. Let's go with the 5000 to see what we are doing here. Not bad. And but I want to have something else. So this is one view. I like to split this to move this here. And from the shader, I want to go to 3D viewport. And here I want to move the light. So if I move the light like this, and maybe a little bit. Oh, I was afraid of this. Come on. Blender is crashed, definitely. So I cannot move anything, as you can see. Okay. Give me a second to restart Blender here to kill it. That's normal because we are now using graphic card a lot. Force quit, hopefully it's saved, to record, share the screen and to render this, etc. So, okay, let's see. If this happens again, you just need to restart it. Okay, let's see. I want this smaller. And I want to rotate like that. I crashed again. Unfortunately, too much heavy process for viewing the render here. So I will do it off the screen, not off the screen, off the render here. I will show, but let me just kill it again. That's something that you need to face with. Normal. If I was working maybe on a bigger PC with better graphic card, then definitely I would have more memory on graphic card to do all these things and have better graphic card, etc. So it looks like this. So basically what I like to do is to add another light source. So I will go with Shift D, make a copy of this one, R, rotate it here, move it somewhere here, rotate it here, and let's see, something like that. I want to add maybe like less saturated, maybe 2000. Let's see, let's experiment. And now let's see in the render view. Not bad. I want this to be bigger, softer light. This is too soft. So like that, probably, maybe let's go with 5000. 2000 is okay. 1000 is okay, but I want this light to be even maybe I don't know, 10,000. Let's see. Let's turn off all the lights. There is also a cool approach here when you go and turn off the light and go with the ambient light and turn it all off, and you're only set with this light. Let me show you. Let me show where it is. Oh, and yeah, I don't want this to be in this collection, so perfect. And if I hide this, we'll be in complete dark. So this is a good approach, so you can see what you're doing with this light here. I'm afraid that the Blender will crash again. Come on. Also, I want to move the model a little bit towards the window here more. So GX, where here, for example. And let's see, yeah, I want the light to hit actually the model. Also, I can move it G and move it here maybe a little bit like this. Why not? Maybe, let's see, maybe a little bit here. So the light can hit the model on the side right there, as you can see, like a rim light. And now if I go to that light and make the light, double click on the icon, for example, make the light like 20,000. See, we have a stronger rim light, not bad. And now let's see if Blender will crash if I move this. Oh, come on. R. I will leave it like that. I don't want to experiment anymore. So this is pretty much decent. See, really nice. Maybe 30,000. Let's see, 30,000. Beautiful. We can leave it like that. Yeah, I like the rim light here. And let's bring this light also. Beautifully done. And now if we bring this one to 1, cool, but you don't need to bring it to 1, maybe 0.3, maybe something like that. Perfect. I'm really happy with this. I would leave it like that. So let's render this out. And for rendering, I will quickly go to the settings. I will go to 255 and everything will be like it is. I should lower the samples in the preview. So this is it. I will press. Yeah, before that, I want to show another cool trick here. Before that, almost forgot because of the Blender crashing. So basically what I want to do, I want to make advantage. Yeah, I don't want to see this. Okay, this is cool. So I don't want to see this. Go here, press 7 and move the floor GX and move it here. Okay, I want to take advantage of Blender camera and to see how this will align with what I want to put as a background there. So basically you can use any background that you want. For example, if I use one photo and just drag it here on the empty space, this is how it looks. You can go to the camera, double click on the camera, go to background images. And here you have a lot of options, but basically you can go with 100% opacity, go to 1, and you can go back and front. You want basically back, and you can stretch it, fit it, crop it, offset it, move it, and basically see how this will work. So if we go with something like this, that's cool, but maybe I don't like this background. So, okay, I want to delete it. Maybe I want another one. Let's see. What is this? Okay, give me a second or two to find some cool background. Maybe, yeah, maybe I want this. Let's see. And what I like to do in order of a background that I have, I want to set the lights and the angle. So maybe this is good, but let's go back here. Maybe I want to set the camera angle differently, you know, depends of the background, etc. So, okay, but I don't want to use this one either. So basically I want to use this one. I want to use this one. Okay, this is my image that I made a while ago. And I have a full tutorial on how I created this photo manipulation. It's really cool. And I want to use it here. Like it's a sci-fi, it's to this topic. And okay, and I want to go in camera to view. And maybe I want to move it like that. And see, you can move it wherever you want. You can have it like that straightforward. But I want some kind of angle just for fun. So maybe something like this looks decent. Okay, and all we need to do now is to render this out, and that's it. So basically I will go to render and render image, and now you will see in real time how long this will be. Okay, let's see. Remember, I'm sharing my screen, so now it's almost done. But while we are waiting for this, I want you to go and answer another poll, and the poll is for guys who face with Blender. What do you, and now watching this, what do you find most challenging with Blender? It's an open question poll, so you can type your answer there, and just type what you think about what you find most challenging with Blender. you're watching me now in real time doing this. Geometry nodes, yeah, geometry nodes can be tough, but when you understand how it works, it's not that tough. Modeling is, as for the beginners, modeling is tedious, and you need to learn basic principles of modeling and how to model using squares, triangles, and also how to avoid some basic mistakes in order to get proper shadings and etc. And then it would be pretty much easy. But at whatever level of Blender you are or 3D you are, you're always facing some problems here and there, and you need to find the solutions how to solve them, etc. So it's always interesting game, at least for me. I really love it. Okay, so lights are difficult. Moving the model isn't so. Yeah, lights are difficult. Well, for me especially, I'm coming from photography background, so I'm also a photographer. For me, that's one really fun and cool thing that I don't find too much difficult, but I understand that light can be too difficult. There is like one basic thing that you should learn: how to light a scene with just one object. One object. Yeah, light a scene with one object. Okay, I have an object, my flashlight. I want to light a scene. So how to light, maybe red. This how to light a scene with one light and play, especially Blender or any other 3D software is amazing for learning that, because you can put just one light and experiment the size, the shape, the position, angle, and see the results. And when you are really comfortable with that, put another light, and trust me, really fast you will be comfortable with lights. So let's see here. Okay, modeling, challenging to adjust the light sources to make yeah, the same. Okay, so you can leave a few more answers. I will go back here, so I will save here, save as, and save this as this file, and I will go and open Photoshop. Okay. And give me a second to find the file. It's right there. Okay, I will just drag and drop the file here. Okay, hide this. Okay, so wow, what I did. Vicente, are you seeing my screen, or I messed up something? I just hide the notification, probably just notification. Hopefully.
Hi, Nemanja. We can see your video. The background, if what you're referring to, the window is
yeah, the Photoshop.
Mm-hmm. It's in Photoshop,
perfect.
yes.
Okay, perfect. That's cool. Thanks. Okay, so now let's continue with this. Now we have this as a render. Perfect. It's done. It's there. And now I want to add a background image. So I will just drag and drop into Photoshop. This is it. This is almost finished photo manipulation that I did with a little bit less effects purposely, because now I'll put it behind this and try to match these two things together and have fun here in Photoshop. Okay, I will quit Blender. And before that, I want to cancel this. Give me a second. I will include this file because actually you can get it for free, but I need to delete Astronaut here. So let's select everything and just delete it, and this collection here. Come on, like that. And everything else, this I will go and save as sci-fi. Yeah, sci-fi window 01, because and I will send it to you at the end of the webinar, so you can download this with lights and everything. And but wait till the end. Okay, so now let's go back to the Photoshop. Photoshop, it's here. So this is it. Now let's turn my tablet. Okay, it's on. And here I like to have a lot of fun. First of all, when you're dealing with 3D renders and with photography and blending these together, there is one thing that people usually like to forget to do. So let me show you. If you zoom, you can see that this is now really low resolution file. You can see it's just 1080 by 1350, but it doesn't matter. When you zoom, you can see that this is pretty clean file. And if you go to the images, it's low resolution, but let me show you, like maybe like this, If you go to the images here, you can see that there is a noise on the image. Not on these models, but you can see, I don't know if the compression is allowing you to see, but basically any image, especially in the dark parts, you have noise. And the idea is to add that noise back to the 3D models, because especially the render here, when you're rendering things, you have a denoiser that will see this noise. This is not nice to see it. And denoiser, this is for the viewport. So if I apply denoiser on a viewport, you can see it's rendering again, and it's removing the noise using AI. So sometimes AI is amazing. So that's why you want to add some noise back. So we don't want noise in render, but then we want to bring it back. So it's crazy, but it's much better to add small amount of noise. So this is something that I want to do. And I will currently save this, close it, go back to Photoshop. So in order to add a noise, there are so many approaches, whatever you want. I like here to add a new layer and shift backspace and fill it with 50% gray and set it to soft light blending mode. And now, before setting to soft light blending mode, I want to go just to see what I'm doing. Filter noise, add noise. And I'm adding a noise, really low amount of noise, like a few percent, maybe 2 or something like that. And I'll show now, I will go to soft light. Basically, I like to straight away put it on soft light to see if I go back to filter and noise and add noise. I'm seeing here in a real time how much noise I'm adding, but 2% for this low resolution is pretty much okay. See before and after, especially here in the dark parts, before and after, and it's matching the background, but I want to clip it to affect only background. So yeah, it's pretty much okay with the background, but everything is a really low res file, so I hope it makes sense. Okay, the second thing what I want to do here is to go to before noise. I want to go to hue and saturation, and I want to affect red colors, and basically Astronaut. I just want to make her more orange. And invert the layer mask, Control or Command I, and just with the lasso tool, maybe is the easiest and the fastest way. Just select the Astronaut here, like that, and then Alt and backspace, and this is it. So see, I want the Astronaut to match these colors of the window. That's another thing that I want to do. Also, another thing that I want to do, maybe the window here, another hue and saturation adjustment layer, and maybe the window, so everything except the Astronaut. So I will make a copy of this, Control Command I to invert it, and I want to desaturate a little bit, especially reds. So just a little bit, maybe this is too saturated. Okay, so like that, and let me show you before. Too saturated for my taste. And yeah, the Astronaut, we can go and maybe add a little bit more saturation here. We can nail the tone, whatever we want, but I like to have that orange vibe. Okay, and also what I like to do is to add some kind of a fake window here, fake glass. So how to do that? Really easily, create a new layer. And I want to go with elliptical marquee tool. And if you're wondering what is this is the newest version of Photoshop 24.5, and there are a lot of cool tools added here. And you can check out, I have also a video on this new update. So I want to go with this like that and fill it with some kind of bluish tone, some bright bluish tone. Maybe this is too much, but I will see. So let's fill it. Also here I can fill it like fill color, see, and choose a color like that. Also there is a shortcut, but I like to use keyboard shortcuts. And put this behind and name this window. And put this into, maybe I can go to screen also and lower the opacity. Let's see, there are different ways how you can do the same thing, depends on what you want to achieve. So before and after, yeah, we're already getting that blue tone over it. Not bad. Also, if we just go to normal, we can get something like that. Another cool trick. I will go through the blending modes to show you, but I want to add another thing here. The other thing is that I want to go with, again, no, I will go with the brush tool and go with this maybe hard brush. Yeah, let's see. I want really big one, not that big. E for brush, come on, make it smaller. Okay, I want something like with the marquee tool also, no problem. But even better, I want white color, so just fill it with white. Perfect. Then create the layer mask and just with black mask it something like this, but with 100% opacity. Perfect. And just put this into any other blending mode, not any other, but soft light overlay, or don't, just lower the brightness, the opacity, sorry. And now you can play with this. You maybe want screen, you maybe want overlay, make a darker image. I don't want, maybe screen and lower this even more. So something like that. Also, you can add here saturation adjustment layer here and play with the saturation of this. See, you can affect that. You can affect the color. You can affect the brightness. Oh, there are a lot of things that you can do using these things. Also, you can maybe like play like that, and yeah, maybe I will leave it like that, just with a little bit more saturation. So it's cool. For now, this is pretty decent. Go to 100, go a little bit less, maybe 15. Personal preference. And also this reflection here, I want to be a little bit blurred. So it's beautiful that we have a mask that controls that, and we can just feather it. And if you feather a lot, it will be really blurred, but we don't want that. So this is not destructive way to do these kind of stuff. I really like it. And also, if you want to add even more to other parts, this is the way. Like Mandalorian like to say, this is the way. Okay, so I think this is pretty decent. Okay, also at the background right there, I can add maybe a little bit more brightness with the curves, maybe like that. And I will leave it here. And also on the model here, what I like to do, I like to go with either exposure or curve. Let's go with exposure. Why not? Make everything darker. Let's see. Like that. Inverted, Control Command I. I will use a brush. I will use Command B for okay, B for brush. Come on, B for brush. Yeah, something happens today. That's normal. So I want to paint with white on the mask and to make this even darker, these corners. And I can always add a vignette also later, but I want to do it here right now. And this looks decent. And what I also want to do now is, we're almost done. See, it's really simple and easy when you already have a photo right there. I want to add a glow. So for the glow, I will use, not this, for the glow, I will use Oniric. Oniric is amazing plugin that is made by my friend Mario. And it's amazing for adding a realistic glow. And it's basically working like adding a glow to the brightest part of the image. And for now, I'll just hide it for the brightest part of the image. And I want to add here glow parts. I want to manually paint few things here to be able to add a glow. So maybe this, let's see, I can always transform this, and I can expand, etc. Do a few things here with this new tool instead of going here and modify, etc. But I want to transform this, and it's a little bit harder that is low res file, but something like maybe this a little bit here, like that. And also I will press Q. Maybe you didn't know about that trick, but this is quick mask. If you go to, or press here, so Q or here to, come on, quick mask, and go again with the marquee tool and just repeat the process, and like that, and fill it with black, Alt and backspace, and you have this. When you exit the quick mask, you will have this, and I will fill it with white. So this is one thing that I want to add. I'll put it somewhere here. So this will glow. Okay, also I want to do the same maybe for this and this. Why not? Just for fun. So I can either make a copy of this, Control Command J and Control Command T, and just try to put it here. Come on. Okay, like that. Oh, it's so hard when you have a small resolution file, but we will manage to do it. Okay, like that, like that. Almost done. So maybe this. And for example, this will be cool for this. Okay, Control Command J, move it here, and this one will be that, and maybe here, like that, and move it right there. And I think that's pretty much okay. And we can blur also this if you want, because see, it's so, it has the jagged edges, but that's normal because we will not do too much with the blur. We'll lose it because it's so low res file. This is why the edges are like that. I will leave it like this, and that's okay. Now let's go to the oniric, new, and voila, that's crazy. So basically, if you go to X-ray here, everything that is visible will be added to glow to. So we can go with the threshold. Everything that is black will not be affected. So maybe like that, maybe like that. And also I want to add color to the glow. So this kind of orange tone, I really like it. And see, now we have this glowing, and you can play with other settings, but I will leave it like that. This is perfectly okay. Press save, and we are almost done. Just few things. First of all, I want to save this like that, because Photoshop now, when I go to camera, Photoshop is crazy good at breaking. And I will go with Shift Control Alt T or Shift Command Option E to make everything into one new layer. But before that, let me show you. You can always play with this. This is how this looks. You can always play with this, and you can add hue and saturation adjustment layer, and you can play with the color of that. No. Just clip it to affect only that. You can play with the color of the glow. So maybe you want these engines to have a blue glow, not that orange, like this. So make it blue and invert the mask, Control Command I, and just with a really soft brush, try slowly to add back this glow here. Also maybe with here, and also to this one. And maybe here. And let's see what else have blue glow, not that, but this. And set to this portion here. And this have a blue glow. This will actually have a red glow. But something like that seems decent. So let me show you before and after. See, really nice change. And now, this one now, Shift Control Alt T or Shift Command Option E, right click, convert to smart object. And for now, Photoshop is working great, except that Now if we go to filter and camera, let's see. Let's see what will be here. Okay, I want to add a contrast. Perfect, it's working fine. I want maybe a little bit of the shadows and maybe a little bit of the highlights. See, we can emphasize the highlights, but maybe not, maybe like that. Also, we can play with the clarity and texture, but I want to add texture and reduce clarity. This combination is cool. Also, we can play with the dehaze. I don't want to touch that. I like this combination, vibrance saturation, so that's cool. And I like to add vignette, definitely even more, feather it to have better blend. And I go to color grading, and here I will go to the shadows, and I want to add a bluish tone to the shadows. See how this changed everything. So a little bit of the bluish tone, not too much. Something like this. And highlights, we can leave it like that, or we can add like reddish orange tone, but maybe a little bit, but that's cool. And let's see. You can also go to the calibration and add that orange and teal effect, just a little bit of this and a little less of this, and we have like orange and teal look. Really simple and easy with 2 sliders. I really like it. Before and after. Before and after. Let's press OK. And come on. Oh, thankfully this went without issues. Okay, this is it. We can stop here. I will show my final way how to do this. My final way to color grade image. I like to use Neat Collection and Neat Color FX Pro. And here with this will be really fast because it's a small res file. With this, I want to go with the Pro contrast. I like to do this a little bit. Let's see the color push a little like that. And that's one thing. Another thing is make a copy of the layer. Again, Color FX Pro, but actually Analog FX Pro. Here we will do something that I like to do with sci-fi images especially. I will go here instead of classic camera. It's applying the look. So we need to wait for a second. I don't want that, but I want lens distortion and I want the before and after. See? Like that, and add 30% like default. You will see now, I will zoom it in and show you before and after. Just a few seconds to apply it. You don't see the progress bar. It's on another screen here on the laptop screen here, but okay, this is it. If I zoom it, you can see that chromatic aberration that I really love. See before and after, especially is visible like here. See before and after, like more like a filmic look. And what I like to do also to add even more, Nick Color FX Pro, just one more thing and we will finish it there. I like to add film grain, this, but not that much. We can also add some kind of film simulation here, but film grain is pretty cool. I like to use less, depends on the image size, etc. So let's go and zoom it. I like to have noise. People don't like that, but some people like it a lot. I like it. Okay, so add a final noise and it's applying the effect. That's it. Let me zoom in. Before and after, before and after. Really nice amount of noise, especially when you print this, looks cool. So this is how it looks. And let me show really quickly. This is the color grading. CG color grading, and this is before color grading. This is after. Really nice subtle difference, and also before adding the glow effect, and this is cool. So this is it. You can see now how really easy and simple it is to create really great looking photo manipulation, really great looking artwork using Blender and Photoshop, and especially with 3D, that you can manipulate it, the angle, the perspective, the camera lens, whatever you want. You can rotate and change the angle and change the total field to the image, etc. So now remember, think about this. Imagine this. You went to Midjourney, to AI. type astronaut looking through the window with a sci-fi view, with a big planet in the front of the city, blah, blah. And you get something. Let's imagine you get this. You get this. And you say, I made it. Yeah, I didn't made it. I made it. But not that. And then you send it to a client. And for example, this should be a movie poster or I don't know, commercial for something or book cover or whatever. And clients say, okay, that's cool, but it's perfect. But I want this astronaut to look at the other side maybe. And also I want this spaceship to be a little bit lower down and maybe a few changes. If you don't know how to do it in Photoshop, and if you're not an artist, like proper artist with the skills, you go to the Midjourney and astronaut looking right up, etc. You will not get, first of all, you will not get the same image. You will get something else, and you get the point. It's crazy to use AI like that. So it's good to use it just as a help for certain things, but to completely create an image and say that you created, no, don't do that. So hopefully you liked this. Now we will upload the file, so we'll be able to download it. And now it's time for Q&A. But before Q&A, I will let Vicente if he wants to say something, and you can ask me anything related to anything. So just ask me whatever you want, and I will gladly reply to your questions.
Nemanja, it's an
Hello.
absolute pleasure to see the fantastic content. Just like Nemanja said, we are not done with the webinar yet. We're not going to get into the Q&A section where all of you can ask Nemanja all of your questions. We have a little Q&A box in the bottom right where you can really feel free to ask away. But we know that some of you already leave before the Q&A begins. So we just wanted to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. Like Nemanja said, we have here the Blender file that you can download for yourself, which is quite simple to do. And as mentioned before, we have the 10% discount code, which is valid not just for the PD series, but also for the SW series, which you're seeing here at the bottom. We'll also be sending that in the follow-up email. And if you enjoyed today's webinar, we have here also the upcoming webinar section. You can also follow us on social media. We're always hosting and organizing incredible events, live streams, just like you're seeing right now with Nemanja. And this is in all the types of different content and areas that you could imagine: Blender, Photoshop, photography, fine art, portraits. It really is an endless list, and we're always so thrilled and always so happy to be having such incredible speakers like Nemanja to be working with us and to be speaking. So, without much more from me, we can now go into the Q&A.
Okay, guys, shoot the questions. I will go and answer. So, Vicente, should we do it like you can
Well,
read the
I already have someone here, Giovanna. It's not necessarily a question, but it's a very big compliment for you. She said, "No questions this time. I just wanted to thank you for the fantastic webinars and for showing us how much freedom Blender gives you in photo manipulation." And she said, like Vicente said in the introduction, you're a born teacher. Every stream is captivating and relaxed, and I learned something new every time.
Thank you, Giovanna, so much for your kind words. I'm really glad to hear that. So, thanks. Okay, let's go to the next one.
We have someone asking for a future webinar topic. They'd be interesting of more combinations of photography and Blender, but also with a real model, for example. So I assume they mean like a real person.
Yeah, for the webinar, if you think about doing a photo shooting with a real person on the webinar, no. But to use a real person instead of using Blender, yeah, that's what I'm doing usually in photo manipulations on a regular basis. But for example, for this sci-fi artwork is much harder to get a real person dressed in this kind of costume. Basically, that's a lot of like money for the costume and for everything, and this is why 3D is lifesaver for these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. For the Photoshop image that you provided, how long did it take you to create that?
For the Photoshop images. Oh, for the background, probably.
Background, yes.
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't remember, but I have a speed art video on YouTube showing you breaking the process, how I did it, but probably it took me around maybe 3-4 hours, something like that. Not too much, because I already knew what I want to do, and all the elements on that image, all those 3D elements, I used already done 3D models from Envato elements. So that's another amazing resource to get done objects, and then you just reshape the lights, etc. So it's not that hard.
We have a question from Dan. He asks, how did you start your art career? And is it enough to just create as much content as you can and hope things work out?
Okay, that's a great question. Well, I started by accident. I was studying electrical engineering, and I got to Photoshop for 20th birthday, so a long time ago. And I just fall in love with Photoshop, and it was Photoshop 5.0 at that time. So basically, I fall in love that when I realized that I can cut out the subject from the scene and put it on another background. That was my first thing that I learned, how to use a lasso tool in Photoshop. It was so bad, like you're taking scissors and cutting things from newspaper and just making a collage. It was like that. No blending the lights, colors, nothing, just like cutting and gluing on another surface, and that's it. But I was blown away by the possibilities, and I just start learning that by myself. And then I fall in love in photography, and I quit my electrical engineering at the half of studying and went to graphic design later. When I was 30 years old, I went for graphic design to study that, just to have a degree, just in case. But basically, everything that I learned by myself, and that's the hardest way to learn it. But in my opinion and my experience, that's the best way to understand things when you are learning on your own mistakes and your own struggles, etc. You learn it and you remember it for life. So that's yeah, it's a longer path. So then I just start working until I was good enough to post something for like portfolio. And basically, the key is to create good enough, the best you can portfolio. And I'm still improving. I'm not like, I cannot say I'm a great artist. I reached the top. No, I'm still on that path and going higher and higher and pushing myself and improving my artwork. And you need to have some place where you put your portfolio online, like website or Instagram, or I don't know, anywhere. There are a lot of these websites out there, like behance.net, ArtStation, etc. And then if you want to work with the clients, I suggest you to just send a lot of emails to different clients, different marketing agencies, different companies, etc., and just present yourself there and hope for the best. And don't expect that they will call you right away, but they will know that you exist. And maybe in occasion or two, they will remember, oh, he's doing these kind of artworks. We need that. Let's call him. So then you will progress from that. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, really, really great points. Milana is asking, what is the favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job is when I finish with the artwork, and I'm happy with the result. And I'm not like watching, you cannot see it on my screen now, but I'm watching the final result we did today, and I'm really happy. I already did that, so I already created it before webinar. You saw the artwork, but I recreated again, and I'm really happy about the result. Also, the process of making it and seeing what it can be and what it becoming, it's for me really like, how to say, it's a great feeling. I'm really happy about these things. So everything about creating artwork is great. Let me answer another question that is opposite of that. The most frustrating thing for me is finding proper images for photo manipulation. That's you can waste hours and even days. And for my photo manipulation tutorials on YouTube, literally, I'm I have so many ideas, but I can waste days, 2 or 3 days finding the proper images, and it looks like this. I find 3 or 4 out of 7 images, and I cannot complete that idea because I don't have proper images. Trash it. Okay, new idea. And 2 3 days I'm going through the process of finding proper images for proper ideas, and then when I find something that is cool, I create a tutorial. So two opposite sides. Everything except the finding proper images is amazing. And also I like to take my own photos. When I'm taking my own photos, that's super cool. And I have control of everything, of the model, of the lights, of the pose, of everything. But that's expensive. You need to hire the model, you need to have a studio, you need to have all the equipment, etc. So I usually do that when I'm working directly for the clients, but when I'm doing for YouTube, for teaching you guys, then I don't do that.
Yeah, for those of you who are not aware, Nemanja, beyond just being a fantastic designer, also has a lot of extensive photography work. And so if you look at his channel on his Instagram, his YouTube, you can see a lot of workflows where he's really integrating his friends, integrating models, and really making very creative projects out of that. We have your question.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Vicente. Sorry, Vicente. Photo shooting is amazing part. We have a lot of fun on photo shooting, and that's something that I also love to do. Photo shooting for photo manipulations, and also the models that are usually my friends because they're so happy to be in the photos and they really love photo shooting. That can be really, really fun. So sorry, I interrupted you. Continue.
Not at all. We have your question from Nuzad, who's asking, how long does it take to create an artwork from the initial concept to the finished product?
That's a great question. And I can ask opposite question. Actually, question on the question is, how long does it take to create a house from a sketch and plan to the final product? Well, depends on the complexity. What kind of house do you want? How many rooms? What kind of materials you want to use? Where you want to build a house, and so on and so forth. Is the same like photo manipulations, depends of the complexity, number of elements in the scene. Should I use Blender to create a model? What kind of model? How many models? It's not the same if you just create a window, create this astronaut. No problem, I can create the astronaut too, but it would take me much more time to create it than to create a window, and so on and so forth. So there is no straight answer to that. Totally is related to the complexity of the artwork. It can be from few minutes, literally, to few weeks, days, etc.
Great. We have here a question from Tomas, who's asking a question about the EV engine. He asks, why didn't you move the lights in the EV engine, then render in cycles? And he says, if I understand well, the EV doesn't give accurate light.
I will try to show you now.
Should we go back to the room?
Yeah. Okay, let's wrong file. Okay, without astronaut. So this is it. That's a great question, actually. Maybe it will work here, but let me show really quickly. This is the cycles, and
so
this
you'll
is
need to share your screen, Nemanja.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No problem.
Imagine that I share the screen. Okay. Okay. So you're seeing it now.
Yes, now we see it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is cycles, and you don't need to imagine. Okay, and this is how the scene looks. If we go to Eevee, give it a moment. This is how the scene looks. It's totally different. So the shadows are different. Everything is everything is different. The reflections, and this is why I don't have a full control of everything. I can see how the light is working on the models, etc. But the whole mood, how I want to see, it's different, totally different. And this is why I like to do it in cycles. So this is it doesn't give that mood that I want. So I can maybe make the light brighter or darker, or I don't see it here, but here I see it. Okay, so let's go back to the questions. Hopefully this answers your question.
We have here a question from Vincent, and he's asking, how much money can you earn doing this job?
That's the same answer, like how much time could you should you spend, or it takes to create photo manipulation? Depends, totally depends. How much money can you earn doing a carpenter job? How much money can you earn doing I don't know, modeling, just as a model, as a for photography, or what any other job? How much money can you earn by just translating a text from one language to another? So it really depends. Who are your clients? What are you working for? Is that a big project, big commercial for big company, or just for small individual? Or totally depends. There is no rule. Basically, you as an artist can set the prices. So I can say, okay, somebody asked me to do a project for them, and I say, okay, I can. That will cost, totally, just an example, that can cost $2,000, and he can go to another artist for the same job, and he can charge $200 for exactly the same job. But if you're really good and position yourself out there as a good artist with a quality results, good quality results, etc., you can charge more. So I will produce for sure a great quality image, and that artist that is charging $2,000 is $200 is probably a beginner who doesn't want to set a higher price because he knows his value in that moment of time. So that's also another thing to think about.
Understood. We have here a question. How big are the files that you're working with? Is there a problem with crashing when you're using big files?
Well, for the Blender, files are really small. This file that I'm sending to you is, oh, wait. Also, I want to I remember to include something in Blender, but the file that I'm sending you with Blender is probably around 20 megabytes with included background. So I will now include it, the background also. Just give me a second. And the Photoshop files can be really big. So for Photoshop files, you need to have a lot of RAM memory, but also for Blender files can go big, but depends of, again, complexity of the scene, what are you doing, etc. So sometimes Photoshop can crash if you have a low amount of RAM memory and you have like a huge scene. My files usually goes over 1 gigabyte. And more, depends of complexity of the scene. So more layers, bigger resolution files, bigger resolution images, etc., are expanding the whole PSD file at the end. So again, depends.
Understood. And we should actually clarify, Nemanja, you've been for a very long time. You've had you of course still have your Photoshop YouTube channel, and now you've also have the 3D YouTube channel as well with content just like this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 channels now because a lot of people wanted me to teach them 3D. So I didn't want to mix the 3D on the Photoshop channel because they're 2 different softwares and maybe people will be confused why I'm doing both. So I decided to create a brand new channel just for 3D. It's different journey and different projects, but definitely I'm using some things that I'm using that I'm making in a 3D channel, I will use in my Photoshop channel, and it will be mix of both. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there some other question here?
If anyone else has more questions, you're free to send them in the bottom right.
There is a Q&A window here, you can see. So if you want to ask me anything, just ask me. Okay, I'm reading also. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, people are asking about recording. Will this be able to watch a recording of this? So Vicente, this is for you.
Yes. So all of our webinars are always uploaded a month later onto our AccuColor YouTube channel, which you can easily find. You can also find all of the webinars we've done with Nemanja so far on dozens of different topics as well there.
Also, guys, there is currently a Blender file for you able to download, but I just sent another one that will be replaced here because I didn't include it the HDRI texture. So if you download the first one and everything is working perfectly fine, but you will see that pinkish background, that's the texture is missing. The HDR texture, you can go to Polyheaven and download any of these textures and put it in, or wait for a moment for a new file. Vicente, can you upload the new file, please?
Yes, that will take about 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. So just wait for a moment. In the meantime, guys, if you want to ask me something else, I'm here for you.
We have here a question from Yana. She asks, is Blender the best program for animation and character design?
I'm not into animation, so I cannot answer properly that. I know that Cinema 4D, I used also Cinema 4D, but I'm in basically still image, like photography. So Blender is good for animation. I know that people are using it a lot, but also Cinema 4D is good for some VFX and things like that, because it's really great how to say connection between Adobe After Effects and Cinema 4D. But yeah, you can do any kind of character design in Blender. Now Blender, first of all, it's completely free software. That's amazing. You don't need to pay for it. Basically, the 3D softwares are not that cheap, and the render engines, you're paying extra for that. And Blender, everything that you see in Blender is completely free. And also that they include the sculpting part, that you can do the things that you would able to do in ZBrush before, and ZBrush is also not that cheap, either a subscription model or to pay it as a license. So basically, you can do everything now in Blender, and with every iteration of software, it's getting better and better and better, and it will be amazingly good in the next iteration. Blender 4 that is coming, that is now in alpha, is already has some big improvements. So Blender 5 will be crazy good, as the rumors are saying, but we will see about that. So yeah, you can do a lot of Blender. You can do animations. There are a lot of plugins also for Blender that are either free or really cheap to buy, that can help you to do some heavy lifting faster than in other 3D softwares.
Mm-hmm. We have now the new file. Would you like to replace the current one we have?
Yeah, replace it, please.
So for everyone, we are going to be uploading now the new file that should be up in about a minute. Paul is asking, how long have you been using Blender?
Well, Blender, I don't remember, but maybe like I switched over to Blender from Cinema 4D maybe 2 years or something. I don't remember actually, but not that long. But when you learn one 3D software, you can easily switch between 3D softwares because you learn the principles. The modeling in every 3D software is the same. The modeling principles are completely the same. The materials are same, similar, material depends basically on render engine. So if you're using Octane, you have different materials. If you're using Cycles, different, Eevee, again, a little bit different, etc. So you need to adapt to that. But basically the nodes, now Cinema has nodes also, Blender and other 3D softwares. I was also using Maya for a short amount of time. So basically the modeling part is really similar, let's say the same, with similar tools, but exactly the same principles. Other things, you just need the time to learn, like the interface, where certain tools, the name of tools are a little bit different in one software compared to another, etc. So this is it.
We have here a request for a future webinar, which is actually something that you and I, Nemanja, have touched upon in the past webinar, but someone is actually requesting that we do a webinar about the topic of thinking creatively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting topic. Yeah, how to think creatively, how to get ideas for your artworks and things like that. Yeah, maybe we should do something like that in the future.
We have I think this is 1 or 2 years ago. We had one similar one about finding inspiration and things like that. But
Yeah,
that's definitely a very pertinent topic.
Yeah.
For everyone, we have now in this the pod on the right side. You will now see the new updated Blender file. You
You
should
can
be able to
download
find
it.
that now.
Sci-Fi Windows 01.blend. You can download
Okay.
that and play with Blender. Download Blender is completely free. One note is that for 3D softwares compared to the 2D softwares like Photoshop, you need a little bit better graphic card, a little bit better computer. So you can model still on not so high specs computer, laptop or desktop, but for rendering and especially animation and things like that, you need a little bit more beast of machine. So this is a downside of a 3D world because it needs to do so many calculations, and that's really graphic processor heavy. So just one note, if something is not working as smooth as you think it should, you should check your specs. Do we have more questions here?
I think we'll have the very last one. Someone is asking about less of a question but more of a request, and maybe you can make some comments on this, Nemanja. Is about a webinar about looking more at the interaction between 2 or more characters. In this webinar today, of course, you had the one astronaut, and they're interested in seeing 2 or more characters interacting in the scene.
Yeah, that's exactly the same like in real life. Like when you have a photo manipulation, I have so many photo manipulations with several characters, and for the 3D, it's exactly the same about the principles and the story you want to tell, and you need to pose the characters to have certain story behind that. But it's everything else is the same, like just taking in Photoshop 2 people and put them together. No problem, we can do that too, but it's not that different than with one person.
And this, I think, will be the last question for today. Ali is asking, has Nemanja ever 3D printed anything? And specifically, he's asking for decorations as well.
That's a great question. Well, if you watch my tutorials, let me show you here. This banana lamp is 3D printed. I have a 3D printer, so that's one of many things. I will show a few more here that in this video, but this is the background for my tutorials. Also, the prop for a lot of my photo manipulation, this gun is 3D printed. Just a plastic gun, but on photos looks really cool. And I have so many other things, especially I have not just for decoration, but for real purposes. For example, I break a part of something and I just design it and 3D print it and replace it instead of buying the whole thing, because I cannot buy a separate part and things like that. There are a lot of, for this, for example, the torque hammer for my pen. You have also the STL file, the 3D print file for this, so you can get it on my website, and perfectly fits for these pens. I really like it as decoration on my table and to put the pens there. So many things. Yeah, I love 3D printing. Okay, so that was probably the last one.
That was the last question. But wanted to say again, thank you to everyone who participated today. And as I said before, we have here the 10% discount code, which will be valid for approximately 2 weeks, that you can use on the PD and the SW series. Something that Nemanja mentioned before as well, to all users of BenQ for the PD and SW series, there's also 1 year free of Pantone Connect Premium, which you can install and easily have access to the license. And as said, if you enjoyed today's webinar, we always have other incredible speakers. We have more coming up also with Nemanja in a couple of months. But if you enjoyed today's webinar, we always have really a very large flow of just fascinating topics, fascinating speakers, and really all the different industries that you can imagine that have to do with art, with photography, design, with 3D work, as we've seen today. So yeah, and I also wanted to say thank you to Nemanja. Really fascinating to see the process. How about 2 hours ago we were looking at essentially just a cylinder in Blender, and now seeing this incredible finished product. And it's already also fantastic to hear all of the feedback that we've been getting from everyone. It really seems everyone's on the same boat, so to speak. Just really loved seeing the process. Really loved learning from you. So from our side at BenQ, not the surprise at all that everyone loves to see you work, but it's obviously always fantastic to hear the feedback.
Thank you, BenQ. Thank you for this opportunity, and I was like always enjoying to present and teach some new stuff for people who like to learn new stuff. And yeah, we will do this in the future. So stay tuned, and then we'll do more these webinars.
Exactly. Yeah. Great. Then thank you to everyone again. We'll be keeping the webinar room open for a couple more minutes if you still need to download the file or want to give any feedback. But with that being said, see you all at the next webinar. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you all.